Welcome to the explainer. So take a deep breath. You know that feeling when things just completely unravel? Maybe a huge project at work suddenly derails or a personal relationship hits a massive wall, and the noise of the whole situation becomes absolutely deafening? Well, our first instinct is almost always to look outward, right? We look for who to blame, what went wrong, and how the external world has basically failed us. But today, we're going to look at a radically different approach. We are exploring a profoundly powerful framework derived directly from our source material on how to actually find clarity when confusion and chaos set in. It's essentially a masterclass in radical accountability. Okay, let's dive right into this and see how we can anchor ourselves when the storm hits. Right off the bat, the source text presents us with this core directive. Always ask yourself these questions when you are in the midst of chaos and confusion. Now, what's really fascinating here is the intense focus on the word yourself. Seriously, imagine we're sitting down for a one-on-one coaching session right now. The text isn't asking you to go analyze your colleagues or your family or society at large. Nope, it's holding up a mirror. In those exact moments where you feel the most disoriented, right in the thick of a crisis where everybody else is busy pointing fingers, the source makes the argument that the only genuine way to find your footing is through a rigorous, completely uncompromising process of self-interrogation. To actually guide us through this self-interrogation, the text gives us a mental roadmap. It lays out 3 distinct escalating steps. Step 1, check your positioning. Step 2, check your actions. And step 3, check your motives. This isn't just a random list of queries, it's a very deliberate journey. Each step strips away another layer of our own defensiveness, bringing us closer and closer to the raw truth of our involvement in whatever chaos we're currently facing. Okay, let's start with step 1, checking your positioning. The source poses this totally foundational question. Are you part of the problem or part of the solution? Sounds incredibly simple, right? Honestly, a bit like a cliche. But in the absolute heat of confusion, basic self-awareness is usually the very first casualty. This question demands that you locate yourself on the map of the current crisis. It literally refuses to let you be an innocent bystander. Because, let's face it, even passive complaining is a way of contributing to the weight of the issue. You're either adding to the complexity of the problem or you're actively working to lift it. The text presents this as a completely stark duality, the problem on one side, the solution on the other. Notice how there is zero middle ground offered here in the source material? You just can't exist in some neutral, gray area when chaos is unfolding. I want you to actively reflect right now on a chaotic situation in your own life. Maybe it's a family argument that's been dragging on forever, or a really dysfunctional dynamic with a vendor at work. Take a second. Which side of the line are you actually standing on? Are you the one fanning the flames by venting to coworkers, or are you the one quietly trying to put the fire out? It's a heavy realization, for sure, but just recognizing your position is the absolutely crucial first step toward clarity. So once you've figured out your position, the framework escalates to step 2. This shifts our focus from passive positioning to our active behavioral choices. Are you creating problems for the solutions or offering solutions for the problems? This is where the framework gets incredibly sharp. We're not just talking about where you stand in the abstract anymore. It's all about what you are actively doing with your energy. Are your actions tearing things down, or are they building a bridge out of the mess? This behavioral fork in the road is just fascinating. Let's really unpack it. Think about the whole concept of creating problems for solutions. Have you ever been in a situation where someone suggests a perfectly good way out of a mess, and your immediate knee-jerk reaction is to point out every single reason why it won't work? We all know someone exactly like this, and hey, if we're being brutally honest, sometimes we are that someone. You're taking a potential lifeline and just weighing it down with new obstacles. You're sabotaging progress. Now contrast that with offering solutions for problems. That's the path of the innovator. That's the person who looks at a tangled, stressful mess and starts gently pulling the right threads to untie the knot, even when it's really difficult. Which leads us to a crucial point. If we logically know that offering solutions is the right path, why do we so often find ourselves choosing to actively sabotage progress? Like, why do we shoot down good ideas when we are supposedly desperate for a way out? Well, that brings us to step 3. We have to prepare ourselves for the final and definitely the most psychologically demanding question of the source material. It requires us to shine a bright light into the darkest corners of our own behavior, to examine our hidden motives. It asks us to confront the highly uncomfortable reality of why we sometimes fiercely resist the exact fixes that would end the chaos. The text breaks this complex reality down into some stark components. Are you rejecting the solutions because you actually want the problem to stay? Now, why on earth would anyone want a problem to stick around? Because, as the source so bluntly puts it,
The problem is convenient to you. It works for you. I mean, that is a staggering level of self-reflection right there. Sometimes the chaos is secretly serving a purpose. Maybe the problem gives you a built-in excuse to avoid a really difficult task you've been dreading. Or maybe the confusion allows you to dodge taking real responsibility for a failure. Or actually, scratch that, maybe the ongoing crisis brings you a bizarre kind of attention or validation from your peers. The text challenges us to admit that sometimes, deep down, we reject the cure because we've kind of fallen in love with the disease. And that brings us to the ultimate distillation of our source material, the absolute final question you must ask yourself when your world feels completely upside down. Strip away the noise, strip away the blame, and ask your own reflection. Does this problem work for you? If you find yourself in the midst of confusion, generating obstacles instead of answers, it is entirely possible that the chaos is exactly where you secretly want to be. I'm going to leave you to sit with that thought. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and until next time, keep seeking clarity.